Good day everyone, I'm Marshall Parani and my topic is about designing learning activities in mathematics. Being an educator is not an easy job. You have a big responsibility in nurturing young minds and shaping them into productive individuals of the society. Aside from developing the moral values and spiritual values, imparting knowledge about the subject matter you're teaching is your number one task. The teacher's fundamental task is to design a learning activities and get students to engage in learning activities that are likely to result in achieving the intended learning outcomes. It is equally important that each activity is meaningful and ensures student development and advancement through the unit. Activities should build on previous activities and avoid being repetitive. They should enable students to engage with and develop their skills, knowledge, and understanding in different ways. Steps in designing a learning activity. Activities should have the following characteristics or components. Number 1, a definite beginning and ending. Number 2, a clear purpose and learning objective. Number 3, complete and understandable directions. Number 4, a plan for assessing the objective and mechanism for providing feedback to students. Number 5, a description of the technology or tool being used in the exercises. Constructivism and discovery learning. Constructivism is the theory that argues that knowledge is constructed when the learner is able to draw ideas from his or her own experiences and connect them to new ideas. Brunner's constructivist suggests it is effective when faced with new material to follow a progression from inactive to iconic symbolic to representation. This holds true even for adult learners. Related to this are the process of assimilation and accommodation. So when we say assimilation, it refers to the process of taking new information and fitting it into an existing schema. While accommodation, it refers to using newly acquired information to revise and develop an existing schema. Essential components to constructivist teaching. There are several main components to include if you plan on adhering to constructivist principles in your classroom or when designing your lessons. The following are from Baviskar, Hartel, and Whitney, 2009. First, elicit prior knowledge. New knowledge is created in relation to learners' pre-existing knowledge. Lessons therefore require eliciting relevant prior knowledge. Next, creative cognitive dissonance. Assign from problems and activities that will challenge students. Knowledge is built as learners encounter novel problems and revise existing schemas as they work through the challenging problem. Apply knowledge with feedback. Encourage students to evaluate new information and modify existing knowledge. Activities should allow for students to compare pre-existing schema to the novel situations. Activities might include presentations, small group or class discussions, and quizzes. Goals of constructivism in mathematics. Number 1, students should develop their mathematical structures that are more complex, abstract, and powerful than the ones they currently possess, so that gradually they will be able to solve a wide variety of meaningful problems. Number 2, students should become autonomous and self-motivated in their mathematical activity. And last, number 3, another important goal of constructivist approach in mathematics is assessment. Is assessment, measurement, and evaluation what should be a natural part of the learning process rather than an activity completed at the end of the learning process. Discovery learning. Number 1, assign interviews to spark curiosity. help students discover the amazing information they can gather just by talking with people, assign an interview, and have the students write a summary of what they learned, what surprised them, and the advantages of learning information directly from a source. Number 2, have students go solo. Some of the best discovery learning projects are done solo. Give your students a problem or subject to research on their own. Encourage them to use technology as part of their own, and then have them come back together to see what everyone learned and what they discovered themselves. Number 3, encourage mistakes and productive struggle. When students have control of their own learning, mistakes are inevitable, but mistakes are part of discovery learning. Providing timely feedback, quickly correcting mistakes, and continuously encouraging students to keep at it are critical to encourage students to push through difficult problems. Examples of learning activities in Constructivism and discovery learning. Number 1, practical simulations using pupils' materials to describe or represent mathematical knowledge. Number 2, use games in introducing the lesson in mathematics like Sudoku, number pattern activity, math bingo, etc. Inquiry-based learning with reflective teaching. Inquiry-based learning focuses on the practical aspects of learning rather than teaching. It requires reflection on what you are doing now, what you see and hear around you, and what you want to accomplish in the future. Asking questions is the inquiry aspect. Self-reflection is central to this approach to learning, which is based on the Socratic method of asking questions and developing understanding. We have 5 characteristics of inquiry-based teaching. Number 1, process focus. Number 2, investigation. Number 3, group learning. Number 4, discussion monitoring. And number 5, real-life application. Examples of learning activity in inquiry-based learning with reflective teaching. Number 1, problem solving or investigational tasks from pupils derive mathematical knowledge and understanding, followed by pupils undertaking written problems, applying the process or technique. Cooperative learning with writing to learn. Cooperative learning is a part of a group of teaching, learning techniques where students interact with each other to acquire and practice the elements of a subject matter and to meet common learning goals. Cooperative learning has been found to be successful and productive teaching methods to develop learners' linguistics, social and communication skill because it is provide maximum chances for students' interaction with consequential input and output in supportive atmosphere. We have 3 major components of cooperative learning. First, lesson preparation. Second, lesson interaction. And last, lesson evaluation. Cooperative models include the following basic principles. Group tasks are designed to be suitable for group work. Positive interdependence is built in cooperation is necessary for students to succeed. Attention and class time are given to interpersonal cooperative skill building. Participants learn together in small 2 to 5 member groups. Students are individually accountable for learning and participation. The instructor's role changes from being the sage on the stage to the guide on the side. Goal structure definitions. Number 1, cooperation. We sink or swim together. Lessons are structured so that learners work together to maximize their own and each other's and each other's learning. Number 2, competition. I swim, you sink. I sink, you swim. Instructors structure lessons so that learners compete with each other to achieve a goal only a few can attain. Number 3, individualistic. We are each in this alone. Learners work by themselves to accomplish learning goals related to those unrelated to those of other learners. Learners work alone. Basic elements of cooperative learning. Number 1, positive interdependence. Interaction through activity. Learners help, assist, encourage, and support each other's effort to learn. Number 2, individual accountability. The performance of each individual learner is assessed and the results given back to the group and the individual. Number 3, group processing. Interaction through reflection. At the end of their working period, the groups process their functioning by answering 2 questions. First, what did each member do what was helpful for the group? Second, what can each member do to make the group work better? Number 4, skilled interpersonal communication. Skilled communication is necessary for effective group functioning. Learners must have and use the needed leadership, decision-making, trust-building, effective communication, and conflict management skills. Number 5, face-to-face primitive interactions. Independence through structure. Learners believe that they are linked together. They cannot succeed unless the other members of the group succeed. They sink or swim together. We have examples of learning activity in cooperative learning with writing to learn. Number 1, group discussion and collaboration in which pupils are required to work in pairs or small groups on the mathematical task set by that teacher. Blended teaching approach or flipping the classroom. Teaching using a blended approach is a complex undertaking where teachers have to address varied discipline and professional learning outcomes, different students' capabilities, and institutional conditions, as well as creating an effective pedagogy by using the strengths of face-to-face and online setting in an integral fashion. Blended teaching. Blended teaching is an instructional approach that uses digital strategies in tandem with best practice in the classroom. It is also known as hybrid learning. It is a method of teaching that integrates technology and digital media with traditional instructor-led classroom activities, giving students more flexible to customize their learning experiences. Some considerations when implementing blended learning in class. Number 1, use a variety of teaching tools. Incorporate digital technology into your classroom lessons along with traditional methods of instruction. Switching between computer-based or gamified learning and face-to-face instruction will keep students engaged in their learning and strength lesson. It can empower students to move at their own pace. Number 2, make learning accessible for students. Learning should continue after students leave the classroom. A benefit of incorporating digital learning is that it allows students to access information, activities, games anywhere, anytime. Number 3, personalize learning pathways for each student. Each student is unique with their approach to their learning. Make sure to use resources with varying degrees of difficulty to encourage students that need it while challenging those that have already mastered the material. Number 4, choose the blended learning model that works for you. Test out different models of blended learning to see what fits best in your classroom. The 3 primary models of blended learning. Number 1, supplemental. The supplemental model of blended learning leverages online course components to help enrich the face-to-face classroom. In the supplemental model, there is typically no real reduction in classroom meeting time. However, the online course components are thoughtfully planned to complement classroom activities and extend learning beyond the classroom. The supplemental approach can take many forms and serve many different instructional goals. Deepen interaction. Enable online collaboration to deepen classroom interactions. Increase time efficiency. Demonstrate key concepts or foundational material online to make better use of class time. Offer flexibility. On-demand review learning when they enter the classroom. Enable review and repetition. Use online modules to cover complex topics for students to access on demand. Number 2, Emporium. The Emporium model of blended learning replaces all or some traditional face-to-face class meetings with collaborative, activity-based work done in a learning resource center or a shared student learning space where students access the online course materials. A space like this typically offers lots of connectivity, computers, wireless connection, easy access to all online course materials, flexible furniture, etc., and foster collaboration learning in its space design. In transplanting the class meetings to this type of space, the Emporium model's learning goals can include: first, encouraging independent student work. Second, allowing flexibility of class time. Fostering collaboration and activity-based learning among students. Making better use of shared space to enhance student learning. Number 3, replacement. The replacement model of blended learning substitute online content and activities for portion of in-class time and reduce face-to-face class time. The replacement model also changes the way that the face-to-face class time is structured. Class time is dedicated more to interactive activities and peer-to-peer or student-to-instructor collaboration that cannot be conducted as easily online. Helps to mediate the course and a half syndrome of some of the other models by focusing on the reduction of in-class or set time. Often leverage an online lecture style that makes efficient use of lecture materials and online lecture delivery. Promotes efficiency of both in-class and online time. Engages students with the course content in both the face-to-face and the online environments. We have an example of learning activity in blended teaching approach. Number 1, individual problem solving. Time on task 5 to 10 minutes. In-class problem solving activities allow students to tackle problems during class with their peers and instructor on hand to discuss challenges. Ideally used to increase practice time on problem solving and provide immediate feedback to students about misconception. And that's the end of my report. Thank you for listening.